moderator, my fellow panelists. First of all, let me thank the organizers of this program, especially the Shantigiri Ashram, for inviting me to speak at this important seminar. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate Shantigiri Ashram and the World Human Rights Forum for organizing this seminar with this particular topic, which is of extreme significance and importance today. The natural rights of humans have been a matter of introspection, debates and discussion within the human community from time immemorial. Right from the days before Christ, you come across documents, texts, scriptures and epics where the natural rights, I would like to say that the concept of civil rights or human rights have been of a later origin, but the natural right of the human being for life has been a matter of discussion from a very, very long time. In fact, even from those days, even the earliest codes of human civilization, like the Code of Hammurabi or the Code of Manu, or various other codes like the Code of Cyrus or Ur, all these are some of the earliest forms of codification of rights and laws which came into being in primordial times. So all these codes and documents actually discuss about the rights of human beings. Of course, the rights of human beings in the sense that rights of that particular privileged class which were there in that particular moment of society, of moment in history. But at the same time, there were discussions all through the world. And then if you come to the modern world, you've seen, you would come across that the rights of human beings or human rights have been a major topic around which revolutions were fought, wars were fought, or conflicts, global conflicts occurred in this history, in history, in the world, American War of Independence or French Revolution, everywhere the rights of human beings have been a major issue or major topic of discussion and debate. Now, the modern times, that is 20th century, only after United Nations took this issue, human rights, as one of the most fundamental rights of human beings, that this particular issue became so pivotal to the thinking and worldview of modern times. So what I would like to say is that this particular subject of media and human rights, actually these are two things which are absolutely inseparable, because the right to the press or right of freedom, freedom of expression, or right to the freedom of speech, these are all organically linked with the way media functions. And so this human rights and media are actually some kind of a Siamese twins, in the sense that they are so inseparable. One is not there without the other. So in fact, the United Nations Human Rights Commission itself had formed a sub-commission under the main Human Rights Commission, the Permanent Commission of Human Rights in the United Nations. There is actually a sub-commission on the freedom of media. So actually, this is not something which are two things. It is not as if the media's role is to sort of propagate or promote or spread awareness about human rights. Functioning of media itself is something to do with the way human rights have been delivered and human rights have been formulated by the modern society. That is one point. Secondly, as the moderator said, human rights become effective, or human rights become actually operationable, or human rights become a reality only when people are aware of these rights. So, unless society or the public at large is made aware about the rights, these rights do not have any meaning. So that is why human rights, the role of the media comes in the sense that unless the media plays a role to spread awareness among public about their rights, about their fundamental rights and civil rights and human rights, these rights will not carry any meaning. So even today, when we come across seminars, discussions and papers and debates about human rights, the fact is that even in a country like United States, only 8% of the adult population is aware about human rights, according to a recent study done by the Amnesty International. So that makes it all the more important, the role of the media all the more important in creating the awareness which makes the human rights actually meaningful. So it is, therefore, unless the media is a free media, by media what I mean is the way free media functions in a democratic society. In a democratic society, even though you may have all these democratic institutions like the judiciary or the executive or various other things, you are well aware that unless the existence of fourth estate is made possible and made its functioning possible without any fetters, without any restrictions, human rights or basic fundamental rights of the public, of the people will not carry any meaning or will not be effective at all. So that is the fundamental role of media. One of the most fundamental roles of media is to spread awareness and empower people to be aware and to make their claims about their own rights. So in Kerala especially, or if you take the entire country also, the media, Indian media has evolved along with the freedom movement or the nationalist movement, and hence the nationalist movement itself had its cornerstone or its fundamental premise or fundamental cornerstone of the national movement itself was the issue of freedom. So it was only natural that media, which grew along with the national movement, also had this as its most central point. So if you look at the history of the growth and emergence and evolution of Indian media, you would see that it was hand in hand. It worked and it walked and it came along hand in hand with the way democratic and nationalist movement came into this country. So in the national scene as well as in the state, if you take Kerala also, Kerala, as everybody knows, Kerala has been a crucible for a number of social reform movement which grew into or which graduated into national movement or left movement or the peasant movement or the working class movement, etc. So here also the most fundamental aspect of all these movements were about the basic fundamental human rights of Indian people, of the people of Kerala. The social reform movement, for instance, even from the earliest days of Kerala media, the Kerala media was so aware about the rights of not just the privileged but even the most depressed classes of society. I've just read a particular news report today in the Malayalam Manorama, which is actually celebrating its 125th year of existence. The very second editorial the Malayalam Manorama carried was about the rights of the Pulayas or the Dalits as they are called now. So it is, people like experts like Amartya Sen have pointed out how Kerala media played its very significant role in the Kerala Renaissance, which has made the modern Kerala which, as everybody knows, is in many ways, in many respects, is one of the greatest models of development all over the world in terms of the achievement of human development, or in terms of indices like literacy or life expectancy, and basically the empowerment of the common people. Kerala is the state which has the least levels of inequality and the least level of poverty, as everybody knows. So all these were achieved not through recent struggles or some political movements, political parties alone, but centuries long agitations by the people in various forms. So in Kerala also, right from its earliest days, the media has been so significantly active in asserting or spreading awareness about the rights of not just, as I said, not the elite or the upper class or the privileged of the society, but right to the lowest sections of society. That is actually what makes Kerala's Renaissance distinct from elsewhere. For instance, Bengali Renaissance, which was actually an upper class, urban-centric, modernist phenomenon, whereas in Kerala, the revolution and the Renaissance actually began and sprang from the lowest levels. That is how Kerala has achieved significant success in bridging the gulf between the rich and the poor, or between the caste, upper caste and lower caste. So in Kerala also, the media right from the early days, and even if you take the fight against the royalty, or fight against feudalism, or fight against foreign yoke, everywhere the media has played a major and significant role. So what I mean to say is that in Kerala and India and in the world in general, the media, at least the better half or the better part of the media, has always played or has taken all this issue most seriously and has delivered with flying colors. But now I am coming to the last part of my presentation, is that in spite of all this, what are the challenges now the media faces in terms of spreading awareness about human rights, or asserting the rights of media, of the lower sections of the people? There are a large number of challenges faced by the media. Many challenges are internal as well as much are external as well. Most important challenge, of course, is internal, I would say, because ever since the media has become a large industry, a very lucrative, profit-making proposition, the priorities and the considerations of the media have actually slowly sort of shifted from its original issues or original principles like human dignity or human relation or human rights or fundamental problems faced by the society to more of a market-driven atmosphere. This is one of the most important challenges as I see it about the kind of problem that media faces in terms of facing these or taking up these issues of human rights and other fundamental issues faced by the public or faced by the people of India. So in an increasingly corporatized world of media, it is very difficult for the media to focus its issues or focus its energies or consideration on things like that. And so what happened is an increasing corporatization, a commodification, and also some kind of a trivialization and sensationalization. So all these actually have worked against the interests of the common people or the issues faced by the people like human rights or violation of human rights and things like that. So this is something which the media has to come to grips today, because unless the media sort of gets out from the shackles of capital or the controls of the market, controls of the corporate structure, I don't know how the media will be able to get out of this problem and to take up the issues faced by. But that doesn't mean that media has completely, taken a blind eye or completely departed from its original goals. Even now, as everybody knows, some of the most important successes of the media in terms of asserting human rights, one of the most talked about, or one of the most significant examples have come from Kerala, especially in the case of endosulfan victims in Kasaragod. The National Human Rights Commission actually issued orders for compensation and a various number of legislative measures only because the media brought this particular tragedy of the endosulfan victims to the attention of National Human Rights Commission. And not just that, a number of recent measures initiated by National Human Rights Commission have been propelled or have been caused or have been because of the kind of work that the media put up. But at the same time, these are the challenges. I am not saying that media has completely gone away from its original attention or original consideration, but the kind of challenges that media faces is absolutely significant, absolutely phenomenal. So what is a solution is something the media thinkers and media practitioners have to think about, have to come with ideas and solutions, but nevertheless, it's a problem that everyone has to take care of. So I think this is not just a problem of the media. I think the society at large also have to take care of this problem, to give attention to this problem, because media is one of the most important institutions that have safeguarded the importance of human rights, asserted the human rights, or spread awareness about human rights. So without a responsible, without a committed, without a media which is seriously committed to the interests of the people, or a media which is completely taken over, completely driven by corporate interests, would be of extremely dangerous, would be an extremely dangerous proposition even to the society in large and human rights in particular. Thank you very much. Now I thank the organizers once again for calling me, and I would like to participate in a debate which, if time permits, later. Thank you.